And I am alive, talking about movies once again. Last weekend we had two new releases, G.O.A.T and Wuthering Heights. I know, these are very different movies. These are very different experience. Anyway, we will be talking about both movies because they just came out. And I will say last weekend was a very fun weekend for movies. There was also Crime 101 that came out. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to watch it, but next weekend I will most likely caught up with that one. Anyway, today the main attraction, the main event is all about these two new movies, G.O.A.T and Wuthering Heights. Anyway, let's get into it. If you have been over the channel, you know how it goes, right? I will be screen sharing the wiki page of G.O.A.T because this will be the first movie we will be covering tonight. Let's get into it. So, G.O.A.T is an animated movie. It's an animation movie, and it's very different than Wuthering Heights. I will never say it enough, but because it both came out last weekend, well, I feel like it's the right time to talk about both movies. Anyway, um, let's get into it. So, G.O.A.T, aka greatest of all time, or aka the animal. I really like the play on that. It was directed by Thierry Delay, screenplay by Aaron Butchibone and Teddy Riley, story by Nicholas Curcio, Peter Chiarelli. I can't believe how many names I butchered just in the last few seconds. Based on Funky Dunks by Chris Tugus. Produced by Michel Remo Kuyade, Eric Payton, Stephen Curry, Adam Rosenberg, Ronnie Rahman. You know, it's fascinating. There were so many cooks in the kitchen, and I really didn't feel like there was that many cook in the kitchen. Anyway, maybe I'm crazy. So let's get into the voice actors because obviously there was no person that was physically there. It was really animated, you know. Caleb McLaughlin, Gabriel Union, Aaron Pierre, Nicola Cogan, David Erber. I can't believe the guy was there. I didn't recognize his voice in the bunch. He's from Stranger Things and the MCU. Nick Kroll, Jennifer Lewis, Peyton Oswald, Jelly Roll, Jennifer Hudson, Sherry Cola, Eduardo Franco, Andrew Sentinel, Bobby Lee, Stephen Curry. Edited by Claire Knight. Music by Chris Bowers. Production companies Columbia Pictures, Sony Animated Picture Animation. Distributed by Sony Picture Releasing. Release date February 13th, 2026. Running time 100 minutes. Country United States. Language English. Budget 80 to 90 million. Box office 51 million. And that was only on the first weekend. Therefore, I wouldn't be surprised if we will have better numbers in the next weekend. So that was like the distribution. Now we will get into the plot of that movie. The plot is, in a world of animals, professional basketball sees itself promoting the biggest animals for a violent version of the sport. A goat medium-sized dreams to play among the big. After being recruited by the Thorns, Goat is the smallest member of the basket league. And that was on purpose. And yeah, I guess now we will get into my review of that movie. Because I think that movie was very fun. Even if it's an animated movie, there's always really good value behind that kind of movie. And I think that movie can appeal to anyone, even if you're an adult. You know, I'm an adult, and I think there was a lot of appeal. And I've seen lots of kids in the theater I went in, and the kids seem to enjoy it. I don't know kids that have seen it, so I don't know, but again, there was a lot of laugh and people seemed happy to be there. Anyway, my thoughts on the movie. I had a few issues with it. I thought some of the humor was overplayed, and they needed to put in there the Gold Stream joke, and they overplayed it, and it was so bad. And later in the movie, there was another moment that kind of bothered me. We had a joke breaking the sad tone of the moment. A bird putting their head in the sand when the team blew up. So again, we will spoil the entire thing. Um, and I can already spoil something that happened, but basically there was torment in the team at some point in the movie, and it led to a very sad moment where everyone went their own way, and it was meant to be sad. It was meant to be a big moment where the characters they question what they were doing up to that point, and we just have that joke, someone putting their head in the sand. It didn't work well in my books. And again, these were my only issues with that movie. So let's get into the likes and the teams. GOAT growth into earning his place in the sport was very enjoyable. At first, he's really played as a mascot, but eventually he really shines. And I think that was the point of that movie. The second good thing, GOAT realizing the people are more important than the game. That was nice. Very emotional movie. It made me tear up in many places. So again, I think that movie had the art and the soul. A art, yeah, art. I think that's an art. Yeah. Call for cast of character. Nice sound effect and voice acting. The action and the lore around the sport and the industry were fun. It really felt grounded in terms of like some of the components of the universe, even if it's a universe full of animals, and some of the aspect I can really see existing in the real world, and that's fascinating. The Washuk professional basket player learning the players are more important than the game. That was a fun realization. Washuk professional basket starting to respect others was very fun. Now, there were a few teams. Sport industry is all about marketing. Always go further, never give up. Never let social barriers stop you from dreaming. Players and team relationships should be what matters the most, not necessarily the win. And these are very big takeaway about that very fun movie. Overall, I think it it's tracking to be one of my favorite animated flick in quite some time. I remember last year around the same time we had Dogman that I quite enjoyed, another animated flick, and this time around we got GOAT. I think animation has very good piece of art. Let's call it that way. These aren't just movies; they're a piece of art. Anyway, I will give GOAT a 9.6 out of 10. As usual, we will get into the Rotten Tomato to see if I am crazy in my grading, because it's often the case. I am kind of crazy sometimes. So let's see what other people had to say to Rotten Tomato. We will cover some of the critique and some of the audience, because I think audience are as important as critiques. So there we go. Screen share. GOAT. PG now playing 1 hour 40 minutes. The critique gave it 80% with 60 reviews. The audience gave it 93%, which is very close to my 9.6 out of 10. I'm very close to the audience. And we had more than 500 verified rating. So yeah, let's get into the comments. The first one, Peter Travers, the Travers Steak. This Oak Dreams animation romp from producer Steph Curry isn't NBA quality, but it gets the job done for a family fun. The inclusivity, the saging about teamwork is laid on thick, but still worthwhile. And that was a 2.5 out of 4, which is a really fresh score. It's kind of nice to see. The next one is not so positive. John Nugget, Empire Magazine. Lovely visual, but this is a rare miss from Sony Pictures Animation. Watch K-pop Demon Hunter again instead. And that person has given a 2 out of 5, so that'd be a 4 out of 10. Very interesting. I haven't seen K-pop, but I've heard so many people enjoying K-pop, so maybe that should be on my watch list. The next one, G's A Zinger, EV Club. B minus, it's antique, sure, and has plenty of middling jokes, but will make a sweet natured and earnest hero. And it's particularly nice to see a movie where a young male unabashedly hero worship a female. Also, he likes to work at the rewind. He likes the woke aspect to that movie. Gotcha. The next comment, 4 out of 5 stars. Patrick McDonald spins the predictable underdog. Excuse me, undergoat. Okay, I like it. Story and creates something fresh, funny, and heartfelt. The voice acting was particularly good, given that fine matching animation was really good, I guess. And that person has given a 4 out of 5, so that'd be an 8 out of 10. Very interesting. These 4 critique, only one didn't like. The other 3 did like it. So let's read the audience reviews. Kim, my husband and our 2 daughters went to see G.O.A.T, and we all loved it. What a truly wonderful movie. So I like to read that. So that means kids also like it. Amazing. I like to read that. And they gave a 4 out of 5 stars, so that'd be a 9 out of 10 movie, which is very close to my 9.6 grade. The next audience, Preston, very cute, great animation with another 9 out of 10. Okay, well, the next one, First L, amazing story and true to the culture. Animation was exceptional, and the score tied everything together with a 10 out of 10. The next one, with a 4 stars out of 5. Very good movie with great message. She just kid the importance of teamwork, and that even if you're great at something, you sometimes need others, I guess. So overall, people liked it. It was well received by most people. There's that negative review here and there, but overall, people did enjoy it. So I'm not crazy with my 9.6 out of 10. So if you really want more details, you can go to my letterboxd. You can see a bunch of things on there. As of right now, this movie is somewhere in the middle among the 8 movies I've seen. So, yeah, now let's get into the next movie being Wuthering Heights. I've seen the remake in 2011. That remake was bad. So I came to the new one with very low expectation. And now let's get into the wiki page and the plot for this movie, because you're there for that, aren't you? So Wuthering Heights. I will massacre the name so many times. Let's screen share the right page. There we go. Margot Robbie, aka Barbie. So that's the theatrical poster. Well. It was directed by Emerald Fennell. Screenplay by Emerald Fennell. Based on Wuthering Heights by Emily Bunty. Produced by Emerald Fennell. Jose McNamara. Margot Robbie. So she was involved in the production, which is very interesting. Oh, I We are reviewing movies today, and this includes the brand new Wuthering Heights. Welcome to the stream. Anyway, let's get into the next few ones. Starring Margot Robbie, aka Barbie. Jacob Elordi, I don't know the guy. I think I've seen the guy in other movies, but I can't pinpoint what exactly. Ong Show, I have no idea who that is, but I assume that's the Asian character. Wow. The next one is Shazad Latif, Elson Oliver, Martin Clunes, Ewan Mitchell. Cinematography by Linus Sandgren. Edited by Victoria Bodell. Music by Anthony Willis. Score Charlie XCX Song. Production company MRC Lucky Chap Entertainment. Lifestyle. There's only cook in the kitchen. It's fascinating that this movie is still enjoyable a lot. Distributed by Warner Bros. Picture. Release date January 28 in Gourmand Chinese Theater. Okay, they got it like 2 weeks in advance. February 13 in the United States and Canada. Running time 136 minutes. Countries United Kingdom, United States. Language English. Budget 80 million. Box office 83. So this movie has been performing better than G.O.A.T. I'm not surprised. This is what happens with remakes, reboots. They always do better. That's a bit unfortunate. Now let's go into the plot, and we will spoil the new Wuthering Heights. And I feel like it's a very different take than the 2011 movie, and that's a good thing. Anyway, let's get into it. Plot: middle-aged Europe. Two kids raised together by a drunken father become very close friends. Katy, one of the two kids, decides she will marry a new rich neighbor to embrace the luxury life she's afraid to lose by staying in her father's shadow. It's about luxury, not love. In the meantime, Katy keeps thinking about her close friend that really ignites true feeling in love within her. So it's like a big love triangle case, and let's get into it. I really enjoyed it. I will start by saying that. A lot more than whatever the remake and Red on Roll did. I will never say it enough. It's a better movie overall. I don't know how much the critique will agree with me on that because I've seen the numbers. People are not on board with that new remake. But I guess to each their own. My big issue with the new Wuthering Heights is the pacing. It wasn't great from the second hour all the way up to the end of the movie. Movie could have been cut by 15 to 25 minutes. So like instead of being 2 hours and 15 minutes, I really feel like that movie could have been like an hour 45. Maybe if you really push it 2 hours. But again, I found the movie long at points, especially by the end. But that doesn't take away the enjoyment I had. I think overall it's a fun experience. Let's get into the likes. The music and movie score were great. Characters were likable and colorful, even if there's a drunken dad that's kind of crazy and abusive. I thought it did the purpose of the story be like that life is awful. I don't want to live it, and it kind of worked well. The father being awful human being was very interesting. Costume and set design were great. Sound design was cool. Solid acting. Emotional movie in many instances. Some of the themes: love versus luxury. Toxic relationship forge who you are. Self-destruction was being embraced by both friends and the father. Like it's a collective. Like everyone is just doing stuff to destroy themselves. Hopefully it remains YouTube friendly, because I had other words in mind that I won't address because I know YouTube will like flag that video as being like for adult and such. But let's call a cat a cat, you know. Sometimes YouTube policies suck. Sometimes it's too late when you're too slow to let yourself love. and that's one of the big message. And again, I will spoil it. So at the end, when they realize they need each other, Margot Robbie character dies. It's so dark. It's fascinating how dark this is. Like their entire life, they live these awful lives, and when they really hit that point where they can be together because they no longer escape it, she dies, and that breaks him. It's fascinating. That movie overall was very enjoyable, and I give it 9.7. It's far better than whatever we had in 2011. I cannot stand the 2011 movie. Um, anyway, that's my take. Let's read what Rotten Tomato had to say, because I think on that one I'm quite crazy, unlike the first movie we covered tonight. So I will be screen sharing the Wuthering Heights. So the critique 61%. That's violent. That's very violent. I gave a 9.7, which is quite high compared to this. And also I compared to the fans overall. The fans is 79. And I prefer my plot summary than whatever they did. Oh, so that's the 18th century England. Okay, let's get into the critique reviews. The first one is a rotten score, or the 2 out of 4. If there's a textbook definition of the term maximalist, this motion picture would be it. The next one is also a rotten one. It often feels like we're watching a motion pic incarnation of a smutty, scratching doodle in the margin of science textbook by a bored middle schooler. Okay, I guess that's fair enough. There was a lot of hugging and PG-13 bedroom fun. That's true. That's a fact. The next one, Peter Stravers, the first one that actually enjoyed it, with a 2.5 out of 4. Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi get steamy in Emerald Fennell, overheated but overcooked take on Emily's Bronte classic gothic romance, in which they suck each other face with a wild, not so friendly word for YouTube. I can let you imagine it. So that person gave up higher score than the other one. So now let's read Emilia Irby, frame rated 3.5 out of 5. So that's a 7. It will likely earn a cult following among younger viewers who crave the yearning of period drama with the stylized aesthetic of a music video. It's not an unenjoyable film. It's just not Wuthering Heights. I haven't read it. I haven't seen the other before the 2011 one. So my point of reference is kind of weak. All I can say is it's very different from the 2011 one. And I don't know if the new one or the 2011 one is more accurate to the books. But I will go on a whim and say I wouldn't be surprised if the newest one is the most accurate one, because someone else mentioned Gothic, and that movie was really trash in a way where everyone had a miserable life. So I wouldn't be surprised if the novel is really like that. I don't know. Maybe I should read it one day. It's not like kind of romance, but yeah. I don't know. Let's read out the audience. What do they have to say? Bruce Wayne. Oh, we got Batman here. Very good movie with solid performance by the two leads. I agree that Batman gave a 9 out of 10, aka 4 stars, or 4 stars and a half, I should say. Adrian W. verified. It was great. The set was breathtaking, and the music so atmospheric. If you read the book, then the ending as well. I will try to Can I expand on that? The ending, as well as all the physical beauty of Jacob Elordi, would feel disingenuous to the book. Could or feel the E between him and Margot Robbie. So I guess that person says it doesn't adapt the book well. Okay, interesting. They know better than me. Visually stunning, George's PSDM, Buddy's Ripper, A-less, all style and no substance, with a 3 stars out of 5. And Sanyel with a 5. So this is what's going on right now. And I got so many updates on Discord. Anyway, so good I had to see it twice and thinking about seeing a third time. Oh my, that Sanyel really liked that movie. I liked it, but not as much. So as someone that has seen 8 movies that came out in 2026, I think that one is a close third or fourth. Well, the other one was just right before, or after, I should say, right after. Anyway, Wuthering Heights, the new one, is better than the previous one I've seen, and that's all I feel. Now, this is the outro. We don't have a lot more to discuss about. I am kind of crazy on the second one. The audience liked it, not as much as I did, but they did like it. The critique, they blasted that thing. It's funny. That happens, right? Anyway, coming next on the channel tomorrow, we got more reviews. James Bond, Daniel Craig era. Wednesday, Lucifer is the main attraction. I don't think I will be streaming Thursday, but Friday. Friday is politic time because we like to talk about politics, and maybe Saturday, a Advance Wars by web stream. Next week, we will cover 2 violent new flick that are coming out this Friday. Can't remember the exact name, but these are new movies that are coming out this Friday that I will be watching. And at some point, I will also review Crime 101. I heard good thing about it, and that's what comes next very soon on the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Take care.